Well, a very good Friday morning, everyone. I'm Storm Team 7 meteorologist Malachi Rogers. We just got the 11 o'clock updates for Hurricane Irma. I want to give you the latest on the storm, show you what's going on, what do we expect to see happen here, and what impact the storm is expected to have on us here in the Carolinas. Right now, Irma is still a very powerful storm. As you can see, it's continuing to move across the Caribbean. It's heading towards Cuba at this point, and we continue to see that storm work its way towards the west. Just to give you a little perspective, you can see where Miami, Florida is there, also northern portions of Cuba, those northern shores. It's about 400 miles to the southeast of Miami, Florida, and about 85 miles from the coastline of Cuba. Now, what we're seeing on the north shore of Cuba is that those outer bands, those hurricane-force winds of Irma are now starting to make their way onshore. The storm is now moving past the Dominican Republic and Haiti, as you can see down there on the lower part of the screen. So what we're looking at with this storm, 405 miles southeast of Miami, still a Category 4, so still a very dangerous storm, 150 mile an hour sustained winds. And again, the winds have gone down just a little bit, but this is still a very powerful storm that can create a lot of damage, storm surge, and heavy rain. So we'll be watching this again, even though it's weakening just a bit. Here's what's new, and here's the latest. The storm is expected to come very close to Cuba later tonight and early on Saturday morning. The hope is, and this is what we're hoping for as we look at this storm, is that they'll get a little more interaction with the land, those high terrain. That is a very mountainous area in Cuba. So hopefully that will limit the growth of the storm, or maybe even weaken the storm as we go towards Saturday night and Sunday. Either way, whatever emerges is actually heading towards South Florida. And again, if you have family or friends, Key West area, Marathon, bound towards Miami, they are bracing for a very strong hurricane heading in their direction early Sunday morning, right around or just before daybreak on Sunday. So we'll be watching that. The forecast path has the storm going a little bit farther west. So as it makes its way onshore, still a Category 4 storm on Sunday afternoon. And look, from Sunday morning to Sunday afternoon, it is only going to move maybe 100 or 200 miles, not a lot. So again, this is a slow moving system that's going to produce a lot of rain, very strong, damaging, gusty winds for those people. As we head in towards Monday morning, the storm is still over Florida. Again, a Category 4 storm at that point as it goes past Orlando. And then as we head towards Monday morning, Monday afternoon, the storm is a Category 1 crossing into southern Georgia. At that point, from Monday afternoon and evening, it should start to weaken and just to an area of low pressure by Tuesday morning near Atlanta. Now, the question everybody has is, well, what does that mean for us? And again, why has this path changed in the last couple of days? Well, one of the things we always talk about is the first 3 days of any long-term forecast that we have the most confidence in, because when you get into those longer days, those later days, day 4, day 5, day 6, what you're relying on is upper wind currents and upper wind shear. And that's what we've had working with. We've watched an area of high pressure. We talked about this Bermuda high all throughout the storm's life cycle, that it's pushing the storm west. And that's what you're seeing here. This is actually the storm down here at the bottom represented. High pressure over the United States, though, because we've enjoyed this great sunny weather the last few days, pushed in by high pressure, that is a lot stronger than first thought. And that's having a lot more strength on the storm and steering the storm. You can see those little wind arrows there pushing the storm to the west. So this is a strong storm, so it's going to fight the winds, but it's eventually going to get influenced by those winds and pushed a little bit farther to the west, which is great news for us, and that's going to limit the impact of the storm on us. Now, eventually that storm is going to be strong enough to push high pressure out of the way, and it will eventually work its way back to the north, but at that point, it's a much weaker storm, a much weaker system as it starts to interact with our weather and have an influence on us. Let's take a look at the forecast for the rain across the southeast as the storm makes landfall. Again, we're talking Sunday morning and the Sunday afternoon. We'll start to see some of that rain work its way into the upstate mid-morning on Monday. So Monday is the timeline I want you to pay close attention to as those showers move through. The green indicates light to moderate rain. Yellow, orange, and red, that's the very heavy downpours, and those are going to be the rain bands closest to the center of the storm. So we head towards Monday evening. We are still just looking at heavy, steady rains, northeasterly winds in the upstate and the mountains. And Monday night into early Tuesday morning, that would be the timeline that we see any strong to severe weather here in the upstate and western North Carolina as a result of the storm. So whether you're living in, and I've gotten a couple of questions here about specific areas, Rutherfordton, Spartanburg, Union, Anderson, Gaffney, wherever you live, Monday night into Tuesday is when we're looking at the heaviest rain and those strongest winds. If we're going to have power outages or things like that or minor flooding, that's when it would happen. So what I want you to do is pay close attention, stay tuned to us, make sure you have our weather app downloaded so we can walk you through the storm. Now, heading into Tuesday, the rain starts to taper off as the system falls apart, again, over parts of Georgia. So the update on Irma looks like this. It's South Carolina is in the wide path, but we're not expecting a direct hit from the storm at this point in the forecast. We still have a couple of days, 3 to 4 days to prepare for the storm. Along the coast, they're still expecting some widespread flooding and storm surge, especially low country areas, low-lying areas down towards Charleston, Hilton Head. Myrtle Beach may get a glancing blow. I don't think Myrtle Beach's flooding will be as severe. And here in the upstate in the mountains, what we'll watch are rain bands, localized flooding, and gusty winds. But because the storm is tracking farther west, the amount of rain we see, the length of those gusty winds won't be nearly as intense. In fact, we take a look at our timeline here. As the storm moves up, what you're seeing, rainfall totals in the upstate in the mountains, 1 to 3 inches of rain expected. In the Midlands, 3 to 4 inches of rain possible. And as you head to the coast, we're still looking at 2 to 6 inches of rainfall from Myrtle Beach to Georgetown, all the way down to Charleston and Hilton Head. And those winds will also be a little bit of a factor. Starting to pick up on Sunday, Monday mid-morning, Monday afternoon, we'll start to see those heavier wind bands, gusty winds, 35, 36 mile an hour winds. That's tropical storm force winds. And as we head towards Monday night, look at this, Monday night into Tuesday, 50 mile an hour gusty winds. And again, we're talking brief gusty winds, 10, 15 minute gusts that will start to die down. But look at areas like Augusta, look at Macon, closer to the center in Georgia, where they're still looking at gusts up to 80 miles an hour. That's hurricane force winds. And as we head into Tuesday morning, we're still looking at some strong gusty winds in the upstate and mountains, Asheville and Hendersonville, down towards Greenwood and Spartanburg, but that should start to die down heading into Tuesday. So again, the westerly track is much favorable for us because it limits the impact of those storms as the storm is far enough west that it shouldn't have as great of an impact on us over the next several days. So again, bottom line, Hurricane Irma, the timeline looks like this. Light to moderate rain and moderate winds as we start in on Monday morning. Now, as we head towards Monday afternoon and evening, this is the time we look at heavy rain and high wind gusts. Expect heavy rains in the upstate and western North Carolina late Monday afternoon or into the afternoon on Monday, Monday night into early morning on Tuesday, basically before daybreak. Now, after that, well, we start to see the rain come to an end on Tuesday, mid-morning, and the winds start to die down. So again, Hurricane Irma still a very strong for storm, still a storm that's going to cause a lot of damage, especially, unfortunately, for the folks in South Florida and for the state of Florida. We'll be watching that very closely. I'll have another update. We'll talk more about how long our great sunny weather is going to last here in the upstate and western North Carolina, and the latest on what you can expect from Irma. I'll have that at 7 News at noon, so join us then. Thanks for watching. And again, if you have any questions, just submit them to us here at WSPA.com. Have a great Friday, and we'll see you in just a little bit.